Tarisland PvP tier list. I decided to make an update tier list because there's been some changes to the PvP. As you guys know, the PvP season resets every week and you need to hit Challenger every week. And the nice thing with Tarisland PvP is you can make a character and compete in PvP because the PvP is fair balance. So I'm going to be giving you a list of the best classes to play in PvP. So let's jump right into the list. All right, let's start it off with a Barbarian DPS. Now, overall, the Barbarian DPS is super strong. It has an insane amount of burst, short cooldowns on the skills, has a team buff that can buff both himself and teammate to provide that extra damage, has really good ultimates, can provide good stuns, and it has heal reduction ultimate. I think it has one of the best, if not the best, heal reduction ultimate, where it pops heal reduction on the enemy, but also provides you a damage boost. So overall, the Barbarian is super strong. It can go together with a lot of different compositions. As long as you bring a healer, it can do really good. If it doesn't run with the healer, right now the meta is having a healer, but if it doesn't run with the healer, if it runs triple DPS, it's not going to do as good because it doesn't have as much defensive capabilities. But overall, DPS wise, it does insane fast attack speed, high amount of burst. So high A tier is where I put the Barbarian DPS. Next up, we have the Barbarian tank. Now, the Barbarian tank, I'll put C rank. Now, but tanks aren't really useful in this meta currently because they can't provide enough damage. But if there is a tank that can pull any type of damage, it is the Barbarian tank. So that's the only reason I'm not giving it D rank. We put it on C rank for now. Next up is the Bard DPS. The Bard DPS, again, another A tier. I will put it. I think the Barbarian is no. Bard is definitely better. The Bard can put some insane amount of damage, and he has some insane amount of silences and stuns that he can provide. As you guys know, in this game, stuns are diminished, silences are not. So Bard popping that silence on players that lost for a long time. It has stun too that it can use. It has shields too, and it can pop insane amount of damage. So again, Bard top class in PvP right now. I think it's one of the classes that annoys me the most in PvP, but definitely don't want to run into Bard. Now the Bard healer, I will put the Bard healer on a B rank. Now Bard healer is solid. It can provide some good reductions and provide some good healing. But overall, the meta currently in PvP is burst them down and hope they die. That's what the meta is. And the Bard healer cannot out heal that right now, unfortunately. But overall, it does pretty decent. Does better than the Priest, but not as good as Phantom Necro, which we'll talk about soon. Next up is the Mage. I'll put the Mage also in A rank. Both the Fire and Ice Mage is super strong. Ice Mage has more of a burst. Every time it can fill up the burst meter, it can provide an insane amount of burst. And the Fire Mage overall is more predictable because it puts like Fireball on you or on Skyfire, easier to kite. However, the Fire Mage also pops damage. So high A tier, it has Shield, it has Teleport, it has the Ice Skin. So it's a lot of defensive capabilities on the Mage too. So I'm comfortable putting it next to these DPSs. These all A tier is super strong, by the way. The Paladin DPS, I'm going to put B tier, high B tier. I think with the current meta, with the heal meta, it's not as strong. It doesn't have a heal reduction like the Barbarian does, or the Warrior does, or the Shadow Swordsman does, which makes it a tier below. It can pop some good damage, some good burst, and provides a team buff, and has good reductions. And I think Paladin DPS will perform better in a triple DPS meta, but for having a healer and how essentially you have a healer in your team right now, I would have to put it up tier below these classes right now. Paladin tank, I'll put D tier again. Like I mentioned, tanks overall right now are not that strong, and the meta is definitely not their way. Needing a healer, you don't have enough damage to kill. You can put at all the stuns. You can provide a lot of stuns as tanks, a lot of CC, but just not enough damage. Phantom Necro, I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen much to Phantom Necro in PvP. I'm going to put it low B tier. I seen like one or two perform really good in PvP overall, but the DPS Phantom Necro is just not it right now. So I will give it B tier. I think it still has a chance to compete and it can still root challenger with the Phantom Necro DPS, but it's just lacking too much of what the other classes have, right? When it comes to the burst, when it comes to the CC, I think it's good at a little bit of everything, but it just doesn't provide enough in the current meta. Now the Phantom Necro Healer is S tier. I think every single team in every single server, top team has a Phantom Necro. Almost every single game that you play is against a Phantom Necro. The Phantom Necro Healer is two really strong single target heals, really insane amount of ultimates, everything from borrowed time, where the damage you take converts into healing. The double teleport, where you can teleport one way or teleport the other way, super strong. It has stun, it has speed up. There's so many different variations you can run with the Phantom Necro, but overall, the single target healing is just too strong. And if you're competing for top player, going with the Phantom Necro is almost like you kind of have to. So Phantom Necro is definitely S tier. It's been like that in the previous beta. It still is till this day. It's just too strong. Priest DPS again. Priest DPS is strong. I would say like low A tier, but I would probably put it next to Paladin for now. Now, as a good priest DPS is definitely like A tier, but overall the class itself, he has a really good burst and he has shield. The other classes just have so many more utilities and so more usefulness. But it has the burst, it has the damage, and it has shield. So with the right composition, you can run it and do good. So priest DPS definitely B tier. Priest healer, I would have to give it a C rank. It's not as useless as Paladin tank because it can still provide a little bit of something, but the healing is just not strong enough. It's predictable when they use their prey or whatever. They stand still. Like priest is very predictable to beat. Most in my PvP games, when I see a priest here, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be an easy win, right? So unfortunately, it doesn't have the utilities as the Phantom Necro has. It doesn't have the good reductions that a Bard has, and the healing is good, like mainly AoE healing, but the single target is just not strong enough to compete in PvP right now. Ranger, I could give the Ranger a low B tier. Now the Ranger does have insane amount of damage with the right comp. It can perform really good, probably over Phantom Necro. However, it is the squishiest class to beat in PvP by far. It doesn't have good utilities to survive for a long time, but it does pop some insane amount of damage if you don't get line of sight. So you gotta give Ranger a B tier for sure. I would say hunting is still better than Tame Beast. I see a lot of people run Tame Beast. Tame Beast can definitely do good, but I would say like hunting, the good thing with the Ranger that you kind of want to use is the burst, right? That amount of damage you can put in as a Ranger. Definitely want to go with the hunting. Shadow Swordsman, best class by far in PvP currently. This class is so broken, it's not even funny, man. It has the highest burst, it has sneak, so you can sneak into battle, so you can get the first damage in, and it can sneak out of battle if it's in trouble. It has 39k HP like the other melee, so not 32k like the ranged, even though it should have 32k because of the utilities. It has insane amount of stuns. It has heal reductions. It has CC. It has damage. It has everything. It's like the perfect package. So you will mainly see the top players running with a Shadow Swordsman. The nice thing with the Shadow Swordsman too is it runs with every single composition. You can run Shadow Swordsman with a healer, with a triple DPS, with Bard, with double melee, with the range. Like it runs so good with every single class, and it's just because it can get that jump on each classes, right? Going to sneak, and if you're a really good Shadow Swordsman, I mean, it's hard to not hit Challenger every week with a Shadow Swordsman. So overall, Shadow Swordsman, I would say, is just incredibly strong. Like these, nothing can compete against it. In my opinion, I think it's just too broken for PvP currently. Like, there's no play around it. A Shadow Swordsman can literally burst down one player alone if they do know what they're doing, right? It's just too incredibly strong. So Shadow Swordsman is definitely the meta. It goes good with every single class. Next up, we have the Warrior DPS. I would say the Warrior DPS is just as strong as the Barbarian. It has good CC, good amount of damage, can pop heal reduction. I would say it's a little. It's hard to say. Like Warrior Barbarian is just like kind of just a squishy to beat, but I would say I would put them together. Like they're still high A tier, they can still perform really good, but it just it's not an S tier, but it has everything that you're looking for. It has good charge, good utilities, the gap closers, heat reduction, CC. What else do you need, right, from the Warrior? So Warrior definitely a Warrior tank. I'll put a D rank next to Paladin. Again, you can't really do much as a warrior tank, but yeah, I mean tanks are just not the meta right now. So the current meta right now, this is definitely my the best list. The reason that these classes are really strong But I would also say that the Shadow Swordsman and the Phantom Necro is also high tier because they work with every single composition, right? When it comes to like Barbarian can't run triple melee, triple DPS because it will get smashed. It has to run with the Phantom Necro to provide the healing, right? And have to ride with the right comp to do good. Same with the Warrior, same with the Mage. Bard can. I feel like Bard can run with every single composition, no matter who you play with, because Bard is just that good with the silence damage and stuff. But it doesn't have as much damage or performs as good as, for example, the Shadow Swordsman, right? And then the B tier, these B tier classes, I would say they only run good with the right composition. So S tier runs with every single comp you can make. A tier works with most of the composition that you make, and the B tier this B tier works only with the right composition. If you don't have the right composition as a B tier class, you're not gonna do good in PvP. And then down below, it's just the down below doesn't work. I'm really happy with this tier list. I think this is spot on. If you guys need to know like what makes me tell you the best information PvP, I reached Challenger. I was top 10 the first week, and I reached Challenger every single season. I feel, so that is basically, it's my opinion at the end of the day. You guys can have a different opinion, but this is my tier list on the PvP classes right now. I'll probably, if the meta doesn't change, I really hope they change the meta where healing isn't as important anymore. I really want to run more triple DPS counts. I want to see more of the triple DPS. So I'm really hoping for a little bit of nerf of the Shadow Swordsman and the Phantom Necro. I think if those two classes get a little bit of nerf and the heal reduction, actually the heal reduction can stay, because if they remove the heal reduction of the Barbarian Warrior, and the Phantom Necro will like dominate even more. But I think they can stay. But the top two classes, I think they're just a little bit too strong for a PvP. But that is my list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Check this video right here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.